former head of Civil Service of Federation, Engineer Bello Okeke, retired permanent secretaries, serving permanent secretaries, the DG Bureau of Public Service Reforms, directors of OSDF's office, directors of BPSR. Good morning. On behalf of the Secretary of the Government of Federation, I wish to welcome you all to the occasion of the submission of the Engineer Bello Okeke's White Paper Drafting Committee report on Federal Government Parastatals, agencies and commissions, created after the Stephen Orational report on the restructuring and rationalization of Federal Government Parastatals, agencies and commissions. Please recall that the Federal Government set up this White Paper Drafting Committee, which is ably chaired by Engineer Bello Okeke, CFRON, former head of service of the Federation, with membership including some retired and serving permanent secretaries and the Bureau of Public Service Reforms as the Secretariat on Friday, 1st July 2022. The committee, you will recall, was given a 6-week timeline and was guided by the following terms of reference. 1. To examine and evaluate the findings and recommendations contained in the report of the Committee on the Review of New Parastatals, agencies and commissions created after the submission of the report on the restructuring and rationalization of Federal Government Parastatals, agencies and commissions. 2. To produce a draft white paper on the report for consideration by the Federal Government. 3. To develop implementation plan and key performance indicators. And 4. To submit the draft white paper within 6 weeks. It is therefore my honor and privilege to inform the Secretary to the Government of Federation and other stakeholders present here that the committee has concluded its assignment and is ready to submit its report today. With your kind permission, SDF sir, I want to call on the chairman of the White Paper Drafting Committee, Engineer Bello Okeke, CFRON, to formally present the report on behalf of other members. Thank you.
On Friday, 1st of July 2022, to produce a draft white paper on the 2022 report of the Committee on the Review of New Parastatals, agencies and commissions, created since 2012 after the submission of the report on the restructuring and rationalization of Federal Government Parastatals, agencies and commissions. The terms of reference of the White Paper Drafting Committee are as follows. Examine and evaluate the findings and recommendations contained in the report of the Committee on the Review of New Parastatals, agencies and commissions, created after the submission of the report on restructuring and rationalization of Federal Government Parastatals, agencies and commissions. 2. Produce a draft white paper on the report for consideration by the Federal Government. 3. Develop implementation plan and key performance indicators, and also submit the draft white paper within 6 weeks. In carrying out this assignment, the White Paper Drafting Committee considered the current economic challenges and the requirement for government to utilize resources more efficiently in order to reduce cost of governance, the need to develop diverse sources of revenue for government, as well as encourage some agencies of government to be self-funded, the principle of building strong institutions to guarantee service delivery to the populace, and the imperative to grow the economy, create employment, and stay on the critical path to achieve the development objectives. It is worth mentioning that the committee co-opted Dr. Ochi Achinivu, a retired Federal Permanent Secretary, to participate in this assignment. The White Paper Drafting Committee sought and received the counsel of subject matter experts, including retired heads of the Civil Service of the Federation, serving and retired permanent secretaries during our deliberations. It also carried out content analysis of the legal framework setting up the PSCs under review. analysis of the budgetary provisions of the PSCs for the period under consideration, the potential for the PSCs to be self-funding over a reasonable period of time, as well as access to international sources of funding and technology to build up capacity and technical expertise to be self-sustaining were also considered. The committee observed that the legal framework enabling act of some of the PSCs did not clearly define structure, management, and oversight. Most of the laws used agency, commission, and board interchangeably. For instance, where the organization is defined as a commission, we'll notice that the provisions of the law did not support the structure of a commission. In this regard, where the committee recommended change in status/name, amendment of the act and law is also recommended accordingly. The committee also observed that most of the agencies created, especially under education and health, were bills that emanated from the National Assembly. It is therefore important, Your Excellency, to engage and dialogue with the National Assembly to generate an understanding to streamline the creation of new PSCs. It is also noteworthy that some of the recommendations can be considered as low-hanging fruits that Your Excellency can make sure be implemented immediately after approval of the white paper. The draft white paper is made up of 3 parts. Part 1 has introduction and purpose. Part 2 shows the PSCs, the recommendations and remarks of the review committee, comments and recommendations by the white paper drafting committee for consideration of the federal government. Part 3 is the implementation plan and key performance indicators. We would like to seize this opportunity to express our gratitude to Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, through the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. We also thank the Secretary to the Government of the Federation for counting us worthy to carry out this national assignment, as well as availing the committee the use of the use of facilities in his office. Thank you. I wish to thank my committee members for their commitment to this assignment, and the Director General, BPSR, and his dedicated team, very dedicated team, for providing an excellent secretariat for this assignment. Finally, I wish to state that the members of this committee, Your Excellency, are readily available to serve in any capacity as deemed fit by government. On behalf of the members of the committee, it is therefore my singular honor and privilege to present the draft white paper for government's consideration, approval, and implementation. Your Excellency, thank you very much, and God bless the Federal Government.
The Federal Government Parastatals and agencies created after the submission of the Orasaya report. Engineer Ebele Okeke, CFR, former head of the Civil Service of the Federation, and you are very distinguished members of the committee, permanent secretaries in the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, directors, and other permanent secretaries here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the Ebele Okeke Committee that was constituted to draft a white paper on the Amal Pepel Committee report on new parastatals, agencies and commissions created between 2012 and 2021. This is a further demonstration of the federal government's commitment to reposition the public service for effective service delivery. The desire to restructure the public service in order to ensure efficiency was further illustrated recently by the President when he interacted with the Association of Senior Civil Servants just last week, where he reassured of the government commitment to the improvement of the condition of service of the civil servants. You will also recall various efforts of the government in addressing the structural issues with the MDS, with the setting up of the following committees. The first was the Bukar Goniaji Committee to review the Muhammad Adoke white paper on the Steve Orasanya's report on restructuring and rationalization of federal government parastatals, agencies, and commissions. The second was the Ms. Amapapa Committee to review new parastatals, agencies, and commissions created between 2012 to October 2021. And now the third one, which is headed by Engineer Ebele Okeke, which is the committee to draft a white paper on an Amal Pepper Committee report on new parastatals, agencies, and commissions created between 2012 and 2021. It is important to note that the high cost of governance in Nigeria and revenue challenges being experienced in the midst of competing societal demands are of serious concern to the federal government. Therefore, all that is necessary will be done to ensure that no sector is neglected. We cannot continue doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. As long as we commit over 70% of our total annual revenue to servicing parastatals, personnel costs, and overheads, leaving just a meager sum of less than 30% to capital development in terms of provision of infrastructure and all that it takes to move this country forward in terms of development, we cannot continue along that path. I have no doubt in my mind that the knowledge, experience, and expertise members brought to bear in the course of the assignment would guide the federal government in addressing the high cost of governance and other associated problems. I'm thrilled because your committee, Engineer Obele Okeke, is made up of people who have run through the course of administering ministries as permanent secretaries. So you know the burden that you carry on a monthly basis, servicing the structure of government and with little left for infrastructural development in the country. And as long as we continue along that path, I'm not very sure we will be able to develop at the speed that the world is pulling us with a lot of disruptive innovations all over the place. We cannot be left behind. And the only way we can address that is when we rationalize our parastatals, agencies, and commissions along with the mainline civil service so that we are functional, we are smart, we are effective. And that is what I believe we will be working on as we consider the white paper of your committee and the other one that was done by Bukar Goniaji for presentation to government at a very, very near date. It is also commendable that the committee was able to complete the assignment within the 6-week time frame given to them, which further demonstrate the seriousness and passion members conducted the work. I want to express the federal government's gratitude to the chairman, Engineer Ebele Okeke, CFR, and all members of the committee for their commitment and steadfastness. In addition, I wish to thank the Bureau of Public Service Reforms for its resilience in transforming the public service and the support provided to the committee in the course of the assignment. I want to assure the committee and Nigerians that the draft white paper will be given all the necessary attention and that appropriate action will be taken on the various recommendations contained in the report. Last week's interaction between the President and the Association of the Senior Civil Servants is a clear demonstration. He was very, very emphatic in saying that the report of Orasanya, along with other reports, will be considered. And I can give you that assurance that the President Muhammadu Buhari's government would act on your recommendations along with the other recommendations that were accepted by the Adoke Committee, which was stable, but nothing has happened about it. We will all look at it holistically so that by the time his tenure is over, posterity will judge him on the right path of history, that he has done something to readdress the imbalances in our public service. I want to thank you, ma'am, with your team for the great job that you have done. I thank you all for your kind attention, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I want to thank you especially the Secretary of the Government of the Federation for these beautiful remarks.